Hello and welcome to How to Create a Support Group. You may have always wanted an opportunity to make a difference for a cause that you feel passionately about, but where do you start? By the end of the presentation today, Hull CVS will have given you some of the information you need in order to go about setting up a group. My name is Beverly Woyan and I'm the Service and Sector Development Lead at Hull CVS and the Volunteer Centre Manager. I'll be talking you through the slides today. If you have a pad and pen handy, take a note of my contact details. You might need them later once you've decided which group you'd like to set up. Why start your own support group? You may have a unique shared interest in something that you're passionate about seeing change or implemented. Or it could be that there are many support groups out there, but not for your issue or interest. In that case, you might want to start a new one that would be led a little differently, perhaps in a different area, the focus on slightly different matters, or even meet on different days. You may want to start a group because an experience has left you feeling that there should have been somewhere to go for more information. Remember, if you are starting a new one, every group will have its individual and unique spirit, and it has to be of value to its members. So now you've decided on the theme for your group, let's get started. You will need to think about the following points. Consider the reasons you set up the group. Think about the structure, the spirit and the potential leaders you might need before actually planning for the first meeting or session. Remember, if you've set up the group, you may need to chair or manage the first meeting, so be prepared. At an initial stage, encourage others to join by providing information or asking interested parties to attend as speakers. As you garner interest in your group, you will need to stay on course and stay focused. By setting up the group, you've already identified an overwhelming need or common interest to support. It's really important that you keep this at the heart of your meeting. Your discussions and information will then circle around it. Your chair or yourself, if you're managing the meeting, will need to be mindful of keeping things on track. Staying focused will help you to think things through. You will need to consider what support you want your group to offer and to whom. You could carry out some research as to whether there are similar groups or services in your area. If there are, strike up a conversation with them. If they've been successful, they'll probably be only too happy to share their journey with you. You might also want to publicise your first group's meeting in places where potential members will see it. In the light of coronavirus, it would be worth doing this online and through social media channels, such as Facebook and Twitter. Use your first meeting to clarify your group's aims and objectives. This will help you to steer the group. Start by forming a committee to manage your group. You can recruit people to the positions of chair, secretary and treasurer. You might wish to consider a constitution or a set of rules for your group, and Hull CVS can help you with this. Now is the time to work out the basic costs of running your group and whether you need to raise funds to cover them. Consider assessing the different skills of your group's members and how they could be used to support your group. Speak to a supporting organisation. So for example, if you were setting up a stroke group, you might want to discuss this with the Stroke Association, or you might want to talk to Hull CVS about training opportunities and grants. Also consider how you make your group open and accessible to people in the local community. When thinking about getting started, it's important to know that Hull CVS run a starter grant programme. It's funded by the Sir James Reckitt charity, and it's a small grant scheme run by Hull CVS of up to £200 for small voluntary groups in Hull. Starter grants are specifically intended to help new groups get established and help pay for things that they need to get them off the ground. One-off grants of up to £150 are available for small, relatively new groups, and repeat annual grants of up to £200 are available for very tiny, self-help groups. Groups may use a starter grant to pay towards the running costs of the group, purchase materials for activities, replace books and other resources, or contribute towards other costs. If you are interested in finding out more about starter grants or would like to make an application, then please do speak to us. See, I told you you'd need a pad and pen to jot down my contact details. Now the group's set up, let's look at some of the details. Try and develop some links with professionals. Hull CVS can help you with this because we have lots of contacts to various networks across the city. People who attend these networks can then pass on your group's details to people affected, and some of these people may even want to join your group. Find a regular place to meet that's accessible and comfortable. We understand at the moment that due to COVID-19, that social distancing means we can't always meet in person. Think about setting up over Zoom or video calls initially. Alternatively, you could start a discussion group on something like Facebook. It's really important that you make sure that your group understands its responsibility to maintain confidentiality and adhere to legal constraints and requirements. This might be something that you and your board may wish to discuss. If you need support in looking at any confidentiality agreements, then please contact Hull CVS. You may even want to go as far as developing a publicity or marketing plan to make sure the people you want to communicate with know that you exist. You may also consider developing an action plan or objectives for your group for the next 6 to 12 months. Hull CVS can help you with all of these things, including a handy health check service, and be with you every single step of the way. Once you've worked through the detail, you're ready for your first meeting. You've booked your venue, you've publicised the meeting to all interested parties, and you've got the kettle on. Don't forget the biscuits. You may need to chair or manage the first meeting, but you can select or vote a future chair drawn from the members attending, if needed. At the first meeting, you now have a crowd of interested people ready to begin. Always try to start the meeting on time and have a meeting agenda. An agenda is your written plan to let people know what topics you'll be covering in the meeting, and this helps people stay on track. Here's a little bit of guidance for starting your first meeting. Start by welcoming and thanking all of those present for attending. When you are able to meet, you might want to inform attendees where the toilets or fire exits are if they're new to the building. Don't forget to introduce yourself and outline the purpose of the meeting. You may even want to remind them of your values or aims and objectives at this stage. This will help keep the meeting on track. Ask if there's anyone willing to keep notes of what is actually said in the meeting, or record it if they all agree, and make notes from that later. Take a list of those in attendance and go around the table to let people introduce themselves and say a little bit about where they are and who they are. This is also a good opportunity to assure all members of confidentiality of any information discussed or held by the group. If you have a guest speaker attending the meeting, make sure that you introduce the professional or representative attending. Let them explain a little bit about who they are and what they do, and maybe focus on some of the aspects. So, for example, if they're a medical professional, then you might want to discuss symptoms or methods of treatment, and this professional could then give information which will form the basis of a discussion and then could invite questions from the members that are attending. When you give the floor to some of the members who may wish to ask questions or make comments, this could also drive the agenda for a next meeting. This also encourages the members because they feel heard and supported by your group. As you reach the end of your first meeting, sum up with an informal conversation, giving a summary of what's been discussed, having made notes of all the important points. You may want to decide whether the group have any ideas for the support group and decide on any roles and responsibilities or even a theme for the next meeting. This may also prompt a discussion around a constitution. Don't forget that Hull CVS can help you with one of these. This may also be the perfect opportunity to decide on a name for the group and start to formulate your aims and objectives. You can then present the aims and objectives at the next meeting to be passed by the group. After summing up, you can end the meeting by deciding with members if, when and where the next meeting will be. Make sure you have the contact details of those who've attended and let them know that the notes of the meeting will be circulated to all of those in attendance. Don't forget that in order to formalise your group, Hull CVS are here to help. And if that's what's been decided, we can help you every step of the way. Setting up a group is a really exciting, positive thing to do, so you need to let everyone know about your hard work. Where you can, make sure that professionals are aware, that service users are aware, and that the public are aware. Hull CVS and our many networks, we can help you to do this. Your next steps might be looking at publicising contact name, telephone number, email, and even setting up a small website. The adventure has just begun and the support is definitely out there for you, so please make sure that you do contact us. Thank you for listening today and good luck with your group. Here are our contact details as a reminder. Goodbye.